Enter the crib. Your strike back sit rep starts in 3, 2, 1. Wait, do we go on 0?
All right, guys, welcome back. We are ready to talk about episode 9. That was incredible. Spoilers ahead. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Deb. And I don't know if I'm ready to talk about this.
Yeah, this one was a lot. So after you stick around for our very spoilery review, Jason Tobin comes by to talk about Young Jun. It's amazing. He's just a delight to chat with. So make sure you stick around. Yeah, this episode, we talked last week about it, that being like a particularly brutal episode. And then they were like,
wow.
Yeah. Let's see if we can top that. So your overall thoughts.
Oh man, it was really, really difficult. Even though, we kind of knew, we knew some sort of big something was going to happen. I mean, we knew there was going to be some major violence.
Yeah.
But man, this was just unspeakable. To just see so much hate and mob mentality, to just, to rush in and just start slaughtering people. And yet we know that happened here in the South, that wiped out one entire town.
Yeah. When it happens, more. People, mob mentality is a thing, we say that for a reason, because people change when you're in a group and emotions are so heightened and you feed off of each other. And it's this like, if there's already that spark of hate, it can just tumble out of control. And this was hard because despite knowing or having a feeling, like, I just kept thinking, like, surely someone is going to get him down. Right. Like, as much as I hate Sophie, like, as she came around the corner, I thought, maybe she's going to,
finally she's going to do something that makes a difference in the right direction.
Make a difference. Yes. Or Leary's going to come and go, like, I know what actually happened. And,
and talk sense,
but no. And I should have known, because the reality is that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
You don't get rescued at the last instant from a lynching.
Yeah. And there were so many, you see Leary come out, and you hope and you hope and you hope he's going to do something. And not only did he not do anything then, he did nothing, period.
Yeah. He just leaves.
He just left.
Yeah.
Looked after his own. And even then, got angry with her when she was unwilling to accept that, what was it he said? This was always going to happen.
Yes.
One way or another, this was always going to happen. I tried to tell them. And that's pretty profound. I think we all knew this was always going to happen. And I tried to tell him, and, it's just the motivations behind him trying to tell them.
Yeah.
It's such a vague statement for him to have made. I tried to tell them, well, and you think all of this is horrifically wrong, and look at what's going to happen to my people.
Yeah.
To just leave that out there like that was kind of brilliant.
It was. But it is hard because this is always going to happen. And I just, it's so frustrating because, again, he's blaming the wrong people. He is part of a system that blamed the Chinese. He is part of the reason it was always going to happen.
Right.
Because they put that blame on the other people struggling to work. So, like, to say this was always going to happen and I try to tell them is like, fuck you, you're part of the fucking problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's yeah.
I tried to tell them it was going to happen. I made no real effort beyond protecting my own people to stop it.
Yeah.
In preparation. He certainly made no effort in the actual moment. But, his only solution was to get rid of the Chinese.
Right.
Not how do we solve the problem?
Right.
Just, and understanding a bigger picture. It's all these little pictures clashing. And, and the reason, Jacob even had to kill the guy in the first place. It's because of the absolute misogyny of the mayor.
Yeah.
And, so it's like all the horrible things.
Yes, like Leary is the fuse when he burns down the factory, and Penny, to protect herself, has to go to the other business people who stand up to the mayor, and then the mayor loses it. So it's like you're literally and figuratively at fault for this.
Yeah. And he's not the only fuse. It's just like the fuses that he lit in the factory, that they're all the multiple fuses going off in different directions. And, Bill was a fuse. Penny was a fuse, just too many fuses to contain.
And Jacob paid the price. And Chow and Mai Ling and turning him over, and she thinks this is the ends justify the means, and she's going to protect Chinatown, and in the end it completely backfires.
Right. So it backfired for Chow to go to her, and he was really, you could tell he was really hurt. He was hurt and he was angry, but still was going to play the game. And then she was just so in over her head.
Yeah. I mean, she could not see the future implications. Right. And I hope, because, we talked about, she doesn't see the bigger picture all the time. Maybe this will be an eye-opening thing for her, where she goes like, fuck, I was trying to protect in that moment, but I didn't see how it all works together. And maybe things will change, but yeah, God.
And in this thing, the only actual leaders in all of this that were out there were the Chinese.
Yeah.
All the other leaders were tucked away.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, there was stuff going on, but chief of police waits until it's all over to show up, and then
that
tries to be the big man. Leary hiding in the bar, Mai Ling hiding in the brothel.
Yeah.
While, Young Jun was the only actual leader out there. Yeah. And yet, in the end, he still had to be saved by his father.
Which was so great. I love that moment. One, like, you have this amazing fight, and that, and then that, and it was like, oh, we just wanted you guys to be friends forever or whatever, help each other. But yeah, I mean, it was God, it was a lot.
And there are just so many important things were said in this as well. I mean, yes, Mai Ling, technically being protected, up in the brothel with Atoy, but she had one of the most profound lines of the entire night when she talked about having the luxury of our own agendas. That tonight we're all Chinese.
Yeah.
And tomorrow we can go back to the luxury of our own agendas. And if that doesn't define 2020 right there for Americans, at least.
Yeah.
Trying to, forge ahead in the luxury of our own agendas. And that just, every major thing that's happened this year, that line can apply to.
Yeah, that's fair.
And yet it was written 2 years ago.
Yeah. God, so good. I loved the time that we saw them together. I think they are just amazing together. The fights were great, getting to see like Assam and Lee Young like actually fight like together was really cool. The nunchucks were pretty cool.
that was pretty amazing. We haven't seen much nunchuck action at all. Just to, in their actual use in training, which is pretty much what they're really used for.
Yeah.
But to see them actually used in battle was pretty damn awesome. And Hong, again, with a great line, hey. And Leon joins up and he just is like, oh, hey.
Yeah. That was great. So I would say again, I think partly the persona he takes on, but also, amazing camera work. But Andrew Koji, again, in the beginning, he's up there. He's pretty unassuming, next to Young Jun in his suit. And all of a sudden he's fighting. And it's like he's so tall and so big and physically imposing, and it's incredible. Especially when I think about interviewing him, which you guys will hear next week.
Yeah.
And he's like just this very sort of mild-mannered, kind of guy, and then you see that and you're like, God, he's huge.
Yes.
Impressive. Yeah, really, really cool.
Yeah, his physical transformation anytime he starts fighting is amazing. But yeah, he's one hell of an actor. He really is just. And this whole episode just really, and I can't think of any scene without thinking back to Kenneth Falk as Jacob. He was just the absolute.
I don't want to think about Jacob.
Just terrifying. It was terrifying. He so skillfully made it easy for us to put ourselves in his position and feel that desperation. I mean, it was just, it was inevitable, I mean, it's like he just knew. That's why he gave all the money basically to his mother. And he works in the mayor's house, and those are the conditions his family still lives in, just the desperate inevitableness of it all was. And that, his last word, just that horrifically plaintive, please. Yeah. Please. Oh my God, he was amazing. Yay, Kenneth Falk. Oh my God.
Okay, was that your emotional moment of the night?
I have like pages of emotional moments. But yeah, that probably had to be just the worst one. Was just that. And, all of the time with him, the level of desperation, being in that basement or whatever it was,
Yeah.
Well, inches away, inches away.
Outside that screen, sticking that his cup out of the screen to collect water. Yeah, that was. So I figured that was going to be yours because I know you're like a huge fan of his as well, and it is the most devastating moment. But I picked as mine the moment when Sophie finds Penny just collapsed in the black dress, and she said the world's gone mad or something, and Penny's like, this is the world. And that was that to me felt, I have felt that, and I haven't been through near what she has been through, but I have felt that feeling of I want, I think this year there's things that I want to chalk up to people have lost their minds, but then I'm like, but no, that this is the way things have been, and I just didn't realize it, and so that was mine.
Yeah, all that, when you look back on everything that led to that moment, the small decisions that people made along the way that got them to that, and how each of them played a role in the fact that Jacob was hanging up there.
Yeah,
it was just.
I think back to her in the first season, having her little affair with Assam, and being this sort of naive-ish with a big heart, and trying to getting upset when the Chinese are mistreated, and now she's on the floor completely just done with life.
The fact that if they, first of all, Buckley again being a major part of the reaction that everyone had, and Sophie, take a deep breath, think about this for a second.
Yeah.
But impulsively just putting it out there. Yes, was Buckley going to try to blame Penny? Yeah, absolutely he would have. But let's take a deep breath. This doesn't have to be decided this second. But again, impulsive reaction, which she meant well. She was trying to protect Penny.
Yeah. No, it's,
Buckley got his race war. That wasn't fun, but.
No, and it'll be the Chinese who pay for it, not the Irish. I mean, even at the end, that is one thing that infuriated me.
Yes.
Bill coming out of the Irish bar to protect them when they came to get Jacob's body. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? you're gonna go and protect the people who started this shit and act like, I mean, you just walked out of the bar of the people who literally started a riot and started killing people.
And we're trying to kill you.
I'm just
I mean, the reality is we don't know what was going on in there.
Yeah, but I just...
but...
That's, I mean, it's how it appears, though, you know?
Yeah.
And I know maybe he's just trying to keep the peace, but nonetheless, you walk out of there with a gun and you confront the Chinese, and it feels like you're protecting the people who started it. Sorry. I know you have hope for...
No, I'm trying to look at it.
Yeah.
I didn't immediately jump to that conclusion.
Okay, so that's how it felt to me. Yeah.
Because I guess I think there was only, 3 or 4 of them. If that had been the case, he would have just let them kill them, you know, and he had a gun as well.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, Bill wasn't happy he was involved in any of that shit going on in the street, but he knew it was wrong and he did not want to see that happen.
No, I agree, but
you know, I don't know that he was necessarily taking their side. I think it was more of a, we finally got this shit under control.
Yeah.
Just stop. Just everybody stop.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that the Irish people just stood there and allowed them to walk up kind of reflected that as well. That it's like, you know, what the fuck did we do?
Yeah.
Even though...
I think it often probably is like that for mobs after the fact, and you're like, what did I get caught up in? Why did I let this like animalistic kind of hate and violence come out?
And the fact that it was Lee who killed Tully.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the person who incited all that rage in them died, and so their flame dies as well. You hope, at least there's hopefully some common sense will take over, but we'll see next week.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, that was just awful.
Yeah.
Just awful.
So, all right, let's talk about the fun stuff. Let's talk about favorite fight. So obviously, let's say favorite standout moment of the fight. Because, like, I mean, there's really just one big, long fucking fight.
It's really just one slaughter that leads into a fight. Just it was wild watching that all progress, because when they first got into Chinatown, you know, when the Irish mob first got in there, they were beating people. They weren't outright killing them, but it only took a matter of moments for it to go from let's just, you know, go crack some skulls to oh, look, there's weapons. Let's kill them. Let's kill this mother with her child standing next to her.
God, that moment.
You know, or with the child in her arms at one point.
Yeah.
You know, pulling people out of the buildings.
Buildings and stuff, yeah.
And do have to say there several fruit carts were destroyed. Always looking for those. We have someone who loves it when fruit carts get destroyed. But and I just, you know, I could just see, you could feel Young Jun just like, what the fuck is going on here? You know, you can imagine them sitting in the office and just hearing this rumble growing and then walking out and going, what the fuck, you know? And then it was just all bets are off at that point. And, you know, my first thought was like, you know, here I am sitting here thinking, yay, go kill as many of them as you can.
Yeah,
and what a horrific response that is. Yeah. Like, yay, it's going to get even worse now.
Yeah, right?
Yes. Revenge killing.
Yes. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, at least they're going to fight like people who can stand up to them as opposed to just slaughtering civilians. So there is something to that. But like, oh,
But yeah, I mean, as soon as he said, go get the men, it was like, yay, at least we're evening the playing field now. Although, I mean, they so outclassed the Irish Americans.
Brawlers,
It was just amazing to watch that. Like, oh, you guys you're going down.
Yeah.
You're going down hard.
I love that in that moment when like Lee Young shows up and it's just like, yeah, this is about to get really cool. And yeah, like him flipping over and like working with Assam and stuff. I was like, oh, I love this so much. I'm like, you guys could do so much if you work together to sell drugs. Yeah, but they were great. I mean, I think my favorite though was Young Jun in the laundry, and Jason Tobin he's like so fast, with those knives and just like, and so it doesn't seem like the big movements, that you see from the other guys. It's just like these really fast, like speedy shots, and it's like so cool. And then to have his dad come in, and I think that was like my favorite of the fight, and it felt like, hey, here's like a little fun thing. Fun people dying to distract me from Jacob. I guess.
Yay! It's always nice when your dad shows up to put an axe in someone's head. But thank God he did, which is great. What are you doing here? You shouldn't be here, but aren't you glad I am? That was pretty amazing.
It was great.
And everybody, Hong sort of started things off with a pretty awesome flying kick. And then, just letting the necklace do the work. They all had weapons, but Liam, again, no weapons. But oh my God, he was just, they all just had some pretty cool signature moves in the thing. And then, of course, the culmination of Assam and the nunchucks was
and the very clear, amazing. Like, that's Bruce Lee right there. Like,
And just the fact, who knows how much advanced planning went into the schedule that they chose for that episode. Oh my God. Titled Enter the Dragon. To be on his birthday. There's really no way that wasn't intentional.
That feels very well, although I guess, but at the same time, I guess they know the schedule ahead of time, but that, you don't know when if the birthday's going to fall on a Friday, but it was really pretty fucking sweet that it did.
Yeah. Pretty amazing.
So what was your what the fuck moment the whole episode?
Hello. There were quite a few of them. Hanging Jacob obviously had to be one. I think Sophie giving up Jacob. Buckley. Was Buck? He was he even in this? I can't even remember if he was in it. But
it was just his
his
machinations. Yes.
All coming in to play. But probably my favorite was, and I don't even know if it's a what the fuck moment, but Myling lecturing Chow. God, just the narcissism of, you should be grateful I gave you the opportunity to redeem yourself. Oh my God. And then just, it's horrific, but the fact that as she's saying, I did this for everyone.
Right. And then she's like, they see the, oh, fuck.
And then the haughtiness of a brothel.
Oh, I know, right? You're safe, but not here. So mine was actually Chow when he and Atoy's bodyguard were having to fight to protect. And when he breaks that guy's arms from behind. Oh! I was like, oh, you're in a fight for your life. You'll do whatever you want. But even when he was being tortured by the Feng Hai, he had his little gun, he's a very hands off. He does not want it. So to see him have to get that brutal to break that guy's shoulders or whatever the fuck he did, that was, oh God, that was mine. Oh. So, questions going forward. What the fuck do we do now?
My God, we've just had this absolute collapse of humanity there. Just like Myling said, we'll go back to the luxury of our own agendas tomorrow. So now everyone's going to go back to their own corners, lick their wounds, and plot how to get even,
I wonder. You know, the sad thing is that I think that this could be one of those episodes where there's lots of lessons learned, you know, and it's not just back to business, but we only have a single episode left.
Right.
It's very hard to show that in one episode, even for this show. So I don't feel like we're going to have much of that, maybe a tiny hint of it. But then really where we would see that is obviously season 3.
Season 3. Which
we don't
we
have
to have. And the only way we're going to have it is if fans work really hard.
Yeah.
Make HBO realize they have to produce it.
Yeah, that they have a jewel and they need to keep it and use it. Because yeah, that's my thing is I think, you know, Mylene could have learned a lot from this. I think Bill could have learned a lot from this. Leary, Sophie, you know.
The look that Leary and Assam exchange at the end. First of all, Assam doesn't know that Leary wasn't out there fighting. You know, he just knows it was his
down. Yeah.
Just that it was his men that were out there. So, and Assam's assuming Leary was out there. And so you know what Assam's glare was about.
Yeah.
But Leary's is a little more obtuse.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe.
I mean, if you watch his face and watch his eyes during that whole exchange, they start off pretty soft. You know, he's not really he's not just, you know, boring holes in him with rage when he first starts looking at him. So I've watched it several times and I'm thinking, what is he thinking?
Yeah.
You know, we pretty sure we know what Assam's thinking, that, you know, this isn't over between the two of us. But it's not really clear what Leary's thinking. You know, what is Leary's plan going to be to try to move forward with this? So, and damn, Dean Jagger really knows how to do that beady-eyed stare. But, you know, his face is not that hard rage stare.
I can see that. Yeah. I just don't think we have time. We don't have the time we need, period.
Right.
But
and I hope that we go into this assuming there would be no season 3. You know, this was written
to wrap it up. Yeah.
With the assumption that it was most likely to continue. So
yes. So hopefully it will. So yeah. Fucking great episode, but really, really hard to watch. And it will not be one. You know, there's some episodes you want to rewatch. It is not like I've had to watch it. You know, we both have had to watch it multiple times. It's not one I have any desire to rewatch again for a very long time, unless I was to skip just to the fight and watch like the fight and then turn it off. Just because like the fight is fun to watch, but like from the point of like the Hopway entering the fight to like it being done, and then that's it.
Yeah. Once the Chinese start fighting back, that's when that's from that point on. I think I'll watch it again.
It's like not quite as devastating as like Mac dying. I see the strike back where I like, but it was pretty.
Stopped for weeks.
God, for weeks.
Because I think there's a difference to this feeling. Because there even
it's an innocent being brutalized for mob vengeance.
Yeah.
Not a soldier dying.
And even necessarily, not everybody is innocent either. You know, the people
but Jacob,
Jacob definitely.
Yes.
Although, what was it? Well, did he tell you he didn't do it? So, that's what I meant by just the desperate inevitability of it, that he had nowhere to turn.
Yeah. That
there was no way in hell a white jury was going to let him off, even though it was justifiable. There was no way, unless he could, get to China somehow. There was no way he was living through this.
Yeah.
And it just, ended up being the most horrific thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that cheery note, stick around for Jason Tobin.
We're not at Xville. Stay with us at the crib.
All right, welcome back, guys. We are so excited to bring you our guest for episode 9, the man who Deb referred earlier as the guy who needs no introduction because he kicked off all of our interviews last year. So, playing Young Jun, welcome back, Jason Tobin. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm so stoked that I was your first guest, and I'm even more stoked to see how many cast members have come on and participated.
Right?
And the other thing is, I just want to throw this out there right now at the start. I know Joe has invited you to join the Long Z, but let me just say, if you didn't notice, Joe's hair is not very Long Z like. And he is thinking about joining the Hopway. So, you might want to reconsider his offer because we are recruiting for season 3, and Hong being the sociopath he is, we need
That's true. I don't want to fight the chain. That's so funny. Yeah, well, that was fun. Yeah, it's been fun to get to know everybody. I mean, you were right. You told us right off the bat last year that it was a phenomenal cast, and that, like, behind the scenes, obviously we know it's a phenomenal cast on camera, but everybody has been super nice and welcoming and lovely, and that has been, just a delight. So yeah, but we're excited to talk to you again.
Oh, I'm so glad to be back. I can't believe, like, because I'm just remembering, like, when we did that first interview, and I was sitting in my flat in Cape Town, and then who would have thought, like, a year and a bit later, 2020 and everything that's going on, and what this roller coaster ride that Warrior's been on as well, and but no, it's nice to have a little bit of continuity here and talk to you guys.
Yeah, well, this season is amazing. I mean, right from the start, it has been incredible, and God, I cannot, it needs a season 3 so badly because it is just phenomenal. It has been a year and a half since you guys finished shooting. Is that right?
It's what, November now? Okay, so we finished shooting season 2 at the very beginning of June 2019. So yeah, it's been over a year. I mean, look at my hair. My hair is like
it's super long. You got the quarantine hair happening.
I know, the quarantine hair. So I grew it out at the end of season 2, thinking, like, you know what, maybe some other gig would come up, and I'd like to try out, like, a different look. And I mean, I love the pompadour, Young Jun's pompadour. So I'm like secretly, like, really wishing that we get another season so that I can just sport that hairstyle again. But yeah, it's been, wow, man, time has flown. Yeah, a year. And 2020 has been like this crazy year, but obviously this is very selfish, but having Warrior come out, season 2 come out, has been for me a little bit of bit of fresh air, because we haven't worked since during this whole I thought 2020 was going to be my busiest year, and then everything that happened, and I haven't worked, I haven't shot anything in a long time. And but to know that, like, there's this ace up my sleeve with Warrior and season 2, it gave me a little bit of a sense of, what's that word, it calmed my nerves of those 2020 nerves, and now that it's out, and the response from the critics' response, the response from fans, it's so much more than season 1. And it's been really exciting. And I mean, as an actor, like, I really wanted to step up my game from season 1 to season 2. I remember, when I wrapped season 1, I was very happy with everything, but I took that hiatus, and I thought, okay, I want to improve in every single department, as a performer, as a professional, as an actor, as an artist, as a martial artist. And I felt like, I gave it my all in season 2. And then when I found, at the end of season 2, sorry, let me backtrack. At the beginning of season 2, I rocked up to Cape Town, and everyone, from Jonathan Chopper, all the higher ups, everyone was super confident that we would be getting, season 3, and if we get season 3, we're definitely going to get season 4, and like, it was that at the top of the season, everyone was very, very confident. Then when we wrapped, within a short amount of time, we all got an email from Jonathan saying that, we may be done. And it was so devastating. Like, I was so devastated at the end of season 2, having just poured my heart and soul into season 2, to hear that, because I was just like, what, really? Like, we just, this show deserves it, and for audience members that don't know what went on, basically, I'll recap really quickly. Cinemax, owned by HBO, owned by Warner, Time Warner, and Warner Media, was bought out by AT&T, and in this corporate reshuffle, Cinemax basically was on the chopping block. But I don't know if any of the other actors have revealed it already, but now, through various things, now Warrior will be playing on HBO Max after season 2, which is such a huge win. And all of a sudden, like, this surge of like hope. Yes, thank you, hope. I think if we don't get a season 3, we'll probably, there's will from people up top that they want to finish the story. And how they finish it, we don't know, whether that's a movie, a miniseries. But I think going from 700,000 subscribers on Cinemax to 30 million on HBO Max, and the fact that season 2 is a good season, it's not it's a really great follow-up. I think we stand a good chance. It may not happen as soon as we'd like, but I think, I'm feeling good about it now. I'm feeling good about it. So you never know. And season 2 just ends on that note where, come on, we can't end here.
I know. Oh my God.
Come on.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's such a phenomenal season, a phenomenal show, and I hope that there is more, because I do feel like there's so much story to do, and I think we're seeing, at least HBO with stuff like Watchmen, and they are showing more diverse stories. At least they seem to be wanting to do that, and I'm like, this one is literally your story. You own the rights to this. Here we go. This would be really easy,
Yeah. Like, delivered to them on a plate, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like,
yeah, and you're like, and on a Cinemax budget, so it's not like so
exactly. It's like it oh yeah, I know. But when we got the email from JT, Jonathan Chopper, about going to HBO Max, I was just like, yes, come on. But I suppose, like, in some ways, like, maybe it was a good thing. I don't know. Maybe, it might work out better for us in this way. Because imagine if we'd been like shooting season 3 and then COVID hit. Like, man, what that would have done to things. But in any case, what did you guys think of episode 9?
Oh my God. Man. That fight.
Wow.
That was huge. I mean, first of all, devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, watching Jacob, that was like really, really terrible.
Horrifying. Yeah.
So it was nice to have some crazy action to follow that, to distract you. And I see like a little stabby, some really great like slash of blood and like
on much this season.
Yeah.
I got a lot of people. I got a lot of comments about, Young Jun's not doing as much this season, or not doing this and that. I'm like, just patient. Just be patient. Just be patient. And that man, that battle. There's a. I remember we were filming that battle scene, and I'm standing there with Assam, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And then I told Hong to get the troops, and then Joe and Long Z show up, and which was legit, gave me goosebumps. Like, filming it gave me goosebumps. I'm like, ooh, wow. And I just talk about it now, it makes me gives me goosebumps. And I had this line. The line is, "We live in their world. Every day we live in their world, but today they're gonna die in ours." And it's such a great line. Like, it's one of those lines where, like, you be on the script, you're like, "Oh man, I get to say this." and so I'm standing there with Andrew, and I'm like, in one take. So I think in a rehearsal, I said it with like almost like a movie trailer voice. we live in their world every day, and today they're going to die in ours. And for the first time in 2 seasons, Andrew turned to me and goes, "Are you going to say it like that?" And because I had totally dropped into like, this is such a serious line, and I was like, it was pretty funny. And his face was like, are you going to say it like that? And I was like, no, don't worry, mate, I've got this. But yeah, it was great. And it was really cool because my wife actually, when she watched episode 9, she's like, honey, you're really good in this episode.
Yeah, you were really good at this episode. I told you.
I didn't mean to like pat myself on the back there.
No,
sorry.
you should pat yourself on the back. It is great. Okay. I mean, I told you when we saw it, I like sent you a message like, okay, I see why you wanted to talk about episode 9. This is amazing.
Yeah.
But where you said like people have talked about him not having as much to do, but it feels like maybe because they had so many characters and everybody gets like a little bit smaller, but
it more was important.
Yes, and it was so huge because especially one of the things that we have talked about is the way that you have played this, like he wants so badly to trust Assam. He's like his sort of big brother that he always wanted, but like he knows something's not right, and like walking that line. And the way that you have like brought that thread sort of like I'm here mostly has been like it's just been incredible. I mean, it really how do you see sort of their relationship, because I guess that's how it reads to us.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about your how you see it?
So I first of all, thank you very much. And I totally agree with you. And I knew, let me backtrack. When I first talked to JT about Young Jun, even before we shot one single second of film, he had told me that Young Jun, well, he had used the analogy of, he used the example of the Godfather films. And he said that, season 1, Young Jun's like the Sonny Corleone, and season 2, we see more maybe like, if not an outright Fredo, but like we see doubt, we see responsibility, we see weight, and on him, on his shoulders. And then after that, we got, I guess season 3, if there is one, would be like Michael Corleone, And so when he told me this, I was just like, what? Mind blown.
Yeah.
And just like literally music to any actor's ear, right? I'm such a huge fan of that movie and of those actors. And so coming into season 2, I knew I really enjoyed playing those subtleties. In season 1, there were some subtle moments, particularly in like episode 5, the standalone episode. But really, he's just this bigger than life character in season 1. Whereas season 2, I get to play these really quiet moments, these moments of doubt. And I really enjoyed bringing that element to Young Jun. And had Young Jun just been the same Young Jun as season 1, it just, as cool as that is, it just wouldn't have been as enjoyable as an artist, as an actor. The other thing was, season 2, I really, really enjoyed working with Andrew. Andrew and I, I really felt like we were clicking on all cylinders. And then bringing on Chen, who played Hong, the chemistry just worked. It was so easy. The humor came easy. The banter was, it's almost like the banter was similar on and off screen. So it really worked well together. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and so even though some people, I'm not saying a lot, but I said, oh, how come Young Jun's not doing as much, which I don't agree with. I just thought, it's because it's different. Young Jun's grown, and now, I love those scenes with me and Andrew where we're just talking quietly about stuff, and we're like, about the molasses and the dealing, and what are we gonna do about it, and like the stuff with his dad, and the back and forth, and this little bit of doubt in my head as to I mean, I say it to us. I'm like, hey, well, what's your game here? I just want to know.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like you're really pushing this, and I so yeah, I love that stuff. And I feel like what it does is kind of like, Kelsey, if you remember in season 1, like how you said you hated Young Jun at first, but then by episode 5 you loved him. I feel like this is on a larger scale. It's like, oh, Young Jun is deeper than you think. Because everyone underestimates him.
Oh, absolutely. Like, yes.
Young Jun's not ready to be boss.
Yeah.
A toy says it. Chow says it. Obviously not to Young Jun's face, but it's like, okay, so be patient, and Young Jun's going to reveal himself. He's going to reveal other parts of his personality. And I think by the time we see him in episode 9 and maybe next week too, we're going to see another Young Jun, a Young Jun that's like, he's changing rapidly. That father-son relationship, even my relationship with my own father, right? Like, even to this day, like I said, Dad, I'm on this show, I got this TV show, and I'm playing this character, and he goes, oh, you're not the lead character? Like, Dad, come on, give me a break, man. It's like, just really? Yeah, I mean, obviously he's teasing and I'm joking, but like, it's like, it's just that, Dad, come on, please. Someone's got to see that I can do this. Yeah, it's a great setup for what's going to happen next, though.
Well, we had that exact conversation before coming on, that there's such a dramatic change in Young Jun between season 1 and season 2, and how we haven't really heard the laugh. That was the thing that stood out immediately with the Young Jun, was that obnoxious laugh.
Yes.
And
now
we're like, we haven't
Did you find
heard
it?
the laugh.
Oh, that's right. You haven't heard the laugh. That's right.
That's
right.
That Young Jun is really kind of gone and matured into that. There's a hidden confidence with him, and yet he's still able to be vulnerable with Assam. And now he's kind of figured out, maybe I need to back off from that a little too, because I'm not quite sure I can trust this guy.
Right.
And I think I talked about this in our last podcast, was that, Young Jun sees a different way of doing things. And that, it doesn't have to, I don't have to kill you, Father. We can work together and transition this and start something new and probably stronger if we have the experience and the new ideas working together.
Yeah.
And how there doesn't seem to be much support for that.
No.
But yet he's still, even as desperately as he wants Father Jun's approval, he's still willing to take the risks to do what needs to be done.
Right.
Kelsey pointed out, we talk about this as if it's a noble endeavor, but it is just, he's a drug dealer.
Yes.
So just the blend of all those worlds and thinking, and go ahead.
Oh no, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but just to piggyback on what you're just saying there, like, I think Young Jun in season 2, especially particularly now, episode 9, you start to see that he, like, beyond the Tong is his community. It's like that he's starting to feel that weight of responsibility, and it goes, oh, it's that Father Jun's not just the leader but you're the leader of your people, so to speak, and to see Young Jun take that on, like, was really exciting. When I read these scripts, I was like, oh man, this is just, it's such dynamite, to, as an actor, like, I get to do everything in this role, everything. There's nothing that I don't get to do. It's amazing in terms of range, arc, whether I'm sociopathic or whether I'm like totally, heartbreaking and loyal or vulnerable, and now the responsible Young Jun, really, like, he feels like he has to, like, wow, okay, and while other people doubted it, and even though I'm sort of jokingly expressing that, I feel like, I don't want to take any credit, but like, I feel like where the writers are going with it and where I'm going with it, it totally matches. You know, like as I've played it, they've written it, and as they've written it, I've played it. Like it's just like we're all going down this same, you know, gushing river. You know, like we're really in step with each other. And recently, JT said something really really sweet. He said something like you know, Young Jun sort of like, you know, Shakespeare meets Scorsese. And I was like, oh my goodness, can I put that on my resume and just like, can I get, my boss told me, right? This is what that's what he said. But yeah, it's a man, it's such a great season. I'm so thrilled with it. And the thing was about it was that I've had to keep it a secret for so long.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's like since we wrapped till now, even though my wife was in Cape Town for several months, I really didn't tell her the story. I mean, she did come to set and see some scenes, so she knew bits and pieces, but even she didn't want to know. So to sort of keep it all a secret and not tell my friends, and also like the kid in me, like the fact that Young Jun becomes boss in episode 7, I was just like, I get to be boss. I want to tell everybody I get to be boss. Even though it's fantasy and it's TV, I'm still like giddy with it. I'm like, yay.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah.
Totally. When he finally sits in the fucking chair.
Yes.
I mean, I like sat up straight. I was like, oh, this is so neat. You know?
Yeah.
That's, I mean, oh, here I am feeling this sense of pride that Young Jun is taking the fucking seat. And, you know, and then I remind myself to sell drugs.
Yes. He's got to sell drugs.
You never lose the larger picture of things. He is now a leader of the community. So, and you get that from Mai, you know, from Mai Ling. She takes on that role immediately. She's out there with the people. I mean, she's not terribly ethical about it, but you know, she puts herself into that role right away. Whereas Young Jun, you know, it's like just hitting him that you know, this is bigger than I expected.
Right. And to play that weight and that sort of kind of being shell shocked a bit about it, and just such great writing. And you know, this season, like they tell it, man, the writers they tell so much story, so much happens.
Yes.
You know, like it just, and it's relentless, and that's just great writing, you know, and just nonstop, you know, and they're still through one more. That's right, season finale to go. Oh my Lord.
And a lot to wrap up. Yeah, it's amazing. And talking about the moment that you sit on the throne, I was thinking, or the chair throne.
Yeah.
You know, thinking if like if I was an actor, that would be the like, I need a pick me up. And I just have that little like snippet on my phone to like go watch myself. Like, no, that was me. I was a badass. You know, like.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna embarrass myself right now. I mean, I go to my Instagram sometimes and watch that little GIF. You know,
nice.
like, oh
yeah, that was
nice.
me.
Yeah, the other GIF that I really like is from episode 2 of season 1, when me, Assam, and Bolo take off our jackets and we walk slow-mo. It's like
yes. We actually talked to Jenny Umbao about that one in the episode 1 of the season, where she and was like Mini-Me and Atoy and Assam, and they do like the hero walk, you know, out. And I was like, that has to feel really badass, like to be like, you know.
Yeah. It actually does. You know, I think it's better than therapy. Like everyone should have a hero shot. Just hire a little crew, you know, just put it in slow-mo and do it, because it really does wonderful things for your ego.
So I wanted to ask you real quick. So we talked to Lonnie yesterday, which was amazing.
Oh, cool.
What a super interesting guy.
Awesome guy.
And he mentioned trying to have most of the actors have what he called like a magic item. I guess like something that they could, you know, he was talking about Kieran and Big Bill having like a little toy policeman thing on his desk it was like had a whole story of like, you know, his son, it was like his toy, and he wanted to be a policeman. He's like his hero, and so he gave it to his dad, and it like sits on his desk. And he mentioned O'Leary's knife, you know, and like it was like passed down. And I'm wondering, like, if you had one that either was like given to you, or something that like made you like something that looked at and you were like, helped you get into Young Jun's character.
Yeah, that's, you know what? So that's a good question, because well, at the end of season 2, when we found out that, you know, we possibly would not be going back to do season 3 because of, you know, everything we already talked about, Shannon Lee contacted us and asked us what we wanted, if we wanted anything, because, you know, she has all the props and all the like, you know, the clothes and stuff, and obviously it would take shipping and all that stuff. I only asked for one thing, and it was the leather straps. The holsters for my knives, and I didn't ask for the suit. I love the suit, don't get me wrong, I loved it, but I just felt like, you know, I didn't want to, you know, be greedy. I just if I take one souvenir from the show, then it would be that leather holster, because every time I put it on, just like sometimes they would ask me, hey, do you want to take it off because you're not using it? I'm like, no, I'll keep it on. I like the feel of it underneath. It just always made me feel like I had my weapons right there.
Right.
And it just made me feel like Young Jun. And so even like, for example, in episode 6 of the current season, when at the beginning they're like, oh, no weapons allowed, so I don't give up my knives for everybody. And then, you know, bam, the guy gets shot. I'm like, okay, gives them up. Same thing. It's like that holster just always made me feel like Young Jun. And so I think that would be the item for me. And actually, speaking of which, I need to contact them because I still haven't received it.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. It's like, where is it? It's
like,
you know, in quarantine somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, you know, and interesting enough, like, because when I first read the very first script for season 1, there was no mention of the knives. So that part of the character design hadn't even come up yet. And it wasn't until I got to South Africa and I met with Brett Chan that he had mentioned, like, oh, I had this idea that, like, you know, Young Jun fights these 2 knives. And instantly when he said that, I thought, amazing. And then, you know, once they got, I showed up with a mop of hair at the time, and, you know, and then I think the pompadour was supposed to, the hair and makeup, they had asked the producers if, you know, maybe the pompadour should be for Assam, and they said, no, not for Assam, try Young Jun. And of course it worked. And so all these little elements that kind of fell into place, and now when I see my silhouette in episode 6 of you know, when Vega's passed away and we're, you know, at her grave, and you see our silhouette, the sun coming down, and you know the suit, the hair. I mean, you can't see the knives, but what's great is that, like, just through our silhouettes, and this goes for the other characters as well, you know, Hong and Assam, just through their silhouettes, you can already tell the characters. And in animation, you know, you want to be able to tell right away what the character is through their silhouette, and we do it that in film too, right? And it's just come together so well. So yeah, Young Jun, I really miss playing him.
Well, he'll be back.
He'll be back. He'll be back. He'll be back.
We believe it.
He'll be back. I think so too. I think it's too good of a show to end here, you know.
Yeah.
And it's too important of a story. I think
Absolutely.
I don't know how many times we've said that at this point, but it's just too important, too timely.
Yeah, it's weird how, like, timely it is, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not. It's like, it's just, yeah, like everything's changed, nothing's changed.
Nothing has changed. Yeah, the same language, the same. Yeah. It's it is. I think it's an important story, and I think on HBO Max, you know, you'll. I think it'll get the eyes, and we, you know, are gonna keep trying to, you know, talk it up and see what, you know, see what we can do. So
thank you so much.
I want to ask you about, you know, you have another like got like a little indie coming out, a little small budget movie.
Small,
It's got like
tiny.
some like cars or something.
Yeah. It's Matchbox cars,
Little like little tiny production coming out.
Yeah.
It's coming out this summer, right? And it got delayed till
That's right.
next summer. So Fast and Furious.
That's right.
Earl is back.
Earl is back. That's right. Earl is back. So Justin Lin, who's like the godfather of the franchise, who's directed half a dozen of them. Yeah. Obviously I had a long history with him. I worked with him on his first little indie film 20 years ago, and obviously he's the exec producer on Warrior. And so at the end of Warrior season 2, I just got an email from him out of the blue saying, "Hey, I'm trying to get you back into the Fast series, Fast franchise, and just be ready." And he's, I think the exact line was something like, "Trying to get Earl back into the series." And at first I'm like, "Who the fuck is Earl?" I'm like, oh, because I hadn't, I was in the third one, and little bit of backstory to that is that originally I wasn't called Earl in the script in the first one.
Okay.
I was called something else, but then I guess later in post when they changed things up, they renamed me. So I didn't even know my name was Earl until the credits rolled, and then it was like, oh wait, I'm Earl now. So 15 years later, when he said Earl, it took me a minute to go, and then he literally told me, he goes, "Oh yeah, everyone here was also saying the same thing, like, who the fuck is Earl?"
Yeah.
Because he was trying to tell everyone, like, "Yeah, I'm gonna bring Earl back," from the Tokyo Drift movie. And then I told my wife, same thing. She's like, "Who the fuck is Earl?" And I was like, "That's me, honey." And I don't know if you guys follow the Fast franchise, but the character of Han. Sorry, do you follow the franchise?
Oh, I love the Fast. Yes.
Okay. So awesome. So I don't know if you know this little factoid or whatever you call it, but Han in Fast and the Furious, played by Sung Kang, plays a character called Han in a movie called Better Luck Tomorrow, which is the film I was in. It was Justin Lin's first little indie film. He produced it on for peanuts. We all did it for free at the time, and but it was that little indie film that went to Sundance and became the hit of Sundance that year. Justin then became the Hollywood director that he is now today, and eventually he wrote Han back into the franchise. He wrote the Han character in the franchise. So Better Luck Tomorrow is sort of like the unofficial origin story of the character of Han.
Okay.
And so some people have asked me, so my character in Better Luck Tomorrow, his name is Virgil Hu, H-U, right? The last name Hu. And so some people over the years have asked me, "Well, are you going to be back? Do you play the same character from Better Luck Tomorrow and in Fast?" I'm like, no, I'm got nothing to do with it. And then like a couple of weeks ago, I looked up, like the credits again on IMDb, and it turns out Earl's last name in the Fast and Furious franchise is Earl Hu, H-U. So Justin is obviously...
So it's like his twin.
Something. I don't know. But obviously Justin has like in his mind, he's like
got all the pieces.
I'm like, So I guess I'm Virgil Hu now. I don't know. So Virgil. And
that's hilarious.
That was supposed to come out earlier this year, Fast 9, and because of COVID, it got postponed, and that's supposed to come out next year. We're supposed to be shooting F10 now,
life.
The world is life, exactly. But so, and what's crazy is like 2 seasons of Warrior. This sounds really shallow, so I apologize, but like I look at my social media, for example, and I see how people respond to Warrior, for example, and then I show up in the Fast and the Furious 9 trailer, and I'm literally in the trailer for not even a second.
One quick second.
Hey guys.
It's like 24 frames per second, right? So I think I'm like 18 frames, not even a second, 18 frames. and my social media blew up. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It just shows how powerful, like, and how big of a franchise it is.
It's so fun. It does what,
exactly.
like, like I've seen people who are like, oh, I hate that, and I'm like, it's not like Transformers. This Transformers tried to be something that it was. I was like, Fast and Furious, I love because it embraces that it is totally insane and over the top and big and loud, and yet I just like it just goes for it in such like a fun way that's not like I hate those Transformers movies. They're terrible.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
And
I never would have known that.
No, I know. They're just terrible. But this, and people see this and they think it's the same sort of, and I'm like, no, it's great.
It's just a couple hours of complete suspension of disbelief and just go have fun,
But it was very fun. I can't even remember what we were watching because my husband and I love to do like the movies for date night, and the trailer came out and I went, Jason, and he was like, and we're in this like dark, and I'm like,
so cool.
So that's very exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I have to say, like, when I got to set and we were filming in London, they film at Leaves in the Studios, and it was so cool because where they film that's where they filmed all the Harry Potter films. And while we were filming there, across the lot, or the side of the studio, they were filming Batman, and across the other side they were filming the new Mission Impossible. I'm like, this is so dope. This is like, so cool. And I remember sitting there on set on Fast 9, and looking around the room and thinking, like, I see Vin Diesel, I see this person, I see that person, I see all the main characters. I'm like, how the F did I get here? You know what I mean? Like, I have no idea. Because when I did F3, I never thought I'd be back. I just thought it was just going to be, a one film kind of thing. And I'm so, like, pleasantly surprised and just happy to be back on the franchise. Like Warrior gives me this, this different kind of satisfaction. And then Fast 9 just gives me this, like you said, it's just unadulterated fun. It's just like, it's just total popcorn and suspension of disbelief, and let's just enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's really cool.
So I had to say I love this because we and if you're listening, you won't have heard this yet. We did talk to Andrew about for episode 10. And he brought up something, and he was talking about, like, the difficulties in, like, Hollywood and being the little guy, and I just I miss, like, the small stuff, and I hate Hollywood. And I was like, dude, you're in a G.I. Joe movie, right? Like, you are Hollywood. He's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm glad that you embrace it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a true artist, and I remember he was like, when he was, I think he was trying to make some decisions about certain jobs, and we were talking about G.I. Joe, and I was like, do it, just do it, just have as much fun as you can. You'll learn something from it. You're gonna make friends, good or bad. And I'm so glad he took it. And I told him, I said, go buy your mom a house afterwards, okay?
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see it. He's gonna be awesome in that. I mean, that film is gonna be better because he's in it. He's I mean, I've always enjoyed working with him, but I particularly enjoyed season 2 because we had so much together, and because of all the subtleties and the undercurrents of things going on. And I think I said it to you last time we spoke, that he's just got a phenomenal work ethic, and I think you both of us really respect that, because neither of us likes to. Well, first of all, there's no one that's lazy on Warrior. You know what I mean? Like, everyone works their asses off, but it starts at the top, man. Because, like, if Andrew wasn't that type of person, the show just, you wouldn't be able to make a show like that. We were. I don't know if any of the actors talked to you about double banking.
Yep.
Did you hear about that? Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's incredibly difficult, because normally we film 2 episodes at the same time, but to film 4 at the same time.
Yeah.
it's not that you're doing more work. I mean, you are doing more work, but it's just that, to keep all of that,
to keep it straight in your head,
square, straight in your head, for every department. And
right.
And if you have an actor at the top, in Andrew's position, who maybe is not as hardworking, ooh, it's that will ripple, that effect will ripple throughout the show. And but I don't know if any of the other actors mentioned this, but there was worry amongst us that, look, we're double banking, we're trying to accomplish a lot. There was a worry that the quality wasn't going to be there, but of course it wasn't, because everyone just put in more effort and put in more work. And sometimes, when you're flying by the seat of your pants, it's kind of good, because it doesn't give you time to think. You just rock up there and you give it your all. And actually, there were times like where I remember I turned to Andrew and said, dude, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. You just don't worry. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm like, okay, great, let's go. And I actually, speaking of which, there was, in Dustin's episode 6, the plan had been a much more elaborate fight sequence at the end, but because of time and budget and everything, everything got
running out of fighters. Dustin
running
told
out of
us.
fighters. Yes, running out of fighters, running out of money, running out of time, running out of sunlight, because we were actually using real, actual daylight. And there was one part of the fight sequence where I had never rehearsed it before. We had literally never rehearsed it. And I'm like, wait, can we just rehearse it once before we do the take? No, just do it, and hopefully you got it. And I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's go. And sure enough, like, one take, and all right, moving on, next. And it, for me, like that, I like that, because I come from an indie background where, working like this is normal. So to bring that sort of element of into such a high level production like Warrior was really cool. Like on the flip side, when I got on the set of Fast 9, everything was super slow, and not because they weren't good. It's because they had the time, they had the budget. So like a very simple scene, like, hey man, how are you? They do like loads of takes. How are you? All right, cut. We'll go again. All right, did it. Whereas in Warrior, it's like, come on,
go. Yeah.
Go. Yeah, it was really great.
Well, I really believe that type of filming really doesn't always work, but it seems to work really well for Cinemax. And it creates magic with the cast and the crew, because you have to trust each other. You have to, know that everyone's on top of their game, or it's all going to fall apart quickly. And so that energy comes out on screen, and that trust comes out. We can see that as an audience, that this is, these are people who are all at the top of their game, giving their best all the time, because there just isn't time for anything else.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I'm so glad that it comes through, because when you're doing it, sometimes you're like, oh god, I hope this works. The other thing that I really enjoyed about season 2 was particularly episode 6, which was, I remember getting a note from JT saying, look, make sure Young Jun is having fun, because he has so much time in this season where he's like, full of angst and troubled and and like, so just make sure you're having fun. And so I really took that note to heart. And it was the episode where I want to say, not that I was freer, but that I took more risks in terms of like improvising and just really thinking, because it was the last episode as well that we shot in my not that they were ever going to fire me, but I was like, what are you going to do if I improvise? Fire me now? It's like, so I really try to like be looser and just enjoy myself, and because I knew what the rest of the season was like, and then I remember, when I was filming some scenes, the more serious scenes with Andrew, I got to play, I got to play a different note, different, different, use my instrument in a different way. And it's just, and so going back to what we were talking about earlier, like, man, I literally get to do everything.
Yeah.
I get to do everything in this show. It's amazing, amazing. It's such a, there was one take I remember in episode 6 where Assam says to me, you should learn how to fight with your knives, right? You should learn how to fight with your hands or something.
Yeah.
And then in one take I was like, I do use my hands. What do you think holds a knife? and then Brad Caleb Kane, one of our head writers, came like barreling down from behind the monitors and stuff. Came barreling, and he's like, "I love that. That was so funny. That was great." And then I was like, "Come on, give me some other lines to use." And so each take I would use different lines.
Yeah.
And, just having fun. And that didn't actually end up in the final cut, but it was that kind of attitude and that kind of like, that really, and I thought really worked well for that. And it's, in a way, it's almost like a little bit more cinematic when you have that kind of bit more, I don't know what's the word, where it feels so not improvised, but like spontaneous,
Yeah.
Well, speaking of fun, we're actually talking with Chen later today.
Oh, are you?
And
Awesome.
Hong has just been just the most fun addition to have this like totally chill.
The three of them
psycho.
are amazing.
Yeah. And the three of you have just, there was some banter last year, but mostly between Lee and Bill was the more bantery sort of thing. But this year, I mean, this has just been a gift, you three together. So what, because it also changed the relationship between you and Assam, or between.
Yeah, that's right.
So what was that like, kind of bringing a new character into that fold? And just such a great character. He's he's great. Hong is just awesome.
Yes. So he's, he fit in perfectly. It was like he didn't miss a beat. He just literally hit the ground running. And what I'll say about it is that in many ways, like how Young Jun and Assam are with him in the show, in the story, we were kind of like that in real life too. Like when he showed up, you're like, who's this goofy guy? Like he's full of energy. You're like, oh, and like, oh, he's pretty good. Okay. Oh, he can fight. Okay, all right. He's a pretty good fighter too. Oh, and he's got all the funny lines. You know what I mean? Like, so like there's this like. So at first it was literally kind of like the way Young Jun is with him when he first meets him is literally how I was. I'm like, oh. But the banter, we got right into it, and he really like, that trio was so enjoyable. And I remember, I think it was Chen had just arrived in Cape Town. I think one evening, one weekend, we went out, and we both lived in the center of town, and we're with some of the cast members. And immediately, as soon as we got out of the car, walking to a bar or whatever, I was like, "Hey Chen, you look that way, this way, like there was already the dynamic, the relationship, like the Young Jun and Hong and Jason and Chen, like making sure that the cast is safe when we go from restaurant to the next place to drink, like as if we as actors are really badasses or anything. But that relationship was very easy, very instinctual, and I really, there was there's all these little scenes where maybe Chen doesn't say a lot, but he says so much. You know what I mean? Like I remember in when Young Jun, in that scene where he takes the chair, and the Hop Way, start to pull out their weapons.
I brought that up in our review, that the looks on his face, the back of that are just awesome.
Like that whole scene, me and Assam are like yabbing, and then just one turn to like Hong, and he's like, okay.
Yeah.
Great. It was boom, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. And then
Yeah.
when he
Great guy,
realizes we're
yeah.
gonna fight, that it's like
Yes.
this flash of worry and then this look of bring it on.
Yeah.
All right. This is how it's gonna go down.
He is like, we keep referring to him as like the surfer psycho. Like at one moment he's like just like cool and like funny, and then he's like kill everybody, and then he's like fix the hair, cool, fun, like.
Yes. I love that intro. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
So I know we're kind of running long, and I know it's very late where you are, but right before we want to go, we are talking about episode 9, and I just wonder if you can kind of walk us through the insane fight setup, because that's a lot of people and a lot of action and a lot of like breaking stuff and blood and stunts, and if you could just before we probably talk about the actual episode.
Wow. Okay, so that okay. I'm first of all, I mean that whole battle took day. I don't know the exact length of time it took to shoot, but it for just my parts alone, it took days. All the stuff that I shot, all my fight that takes place in the laundry, where the sheets are up and the final sequence, that took me one whole day. Like literally from the top of the day to the very last shot. That was and I was exhausted. I posted up I'm gonna post it up again actually. It's a photo of me eating my dinner in my trailer after shooting that sequence, and you can just see my body's just like
yeah.
Man, all those battle sequences, what can I say about them? I mean, all the obvious things. I mean, they were obviously very, very intense, and like Young Jun, you obviously you're getting into character, and I start to feel that responsibility. I am fighting for people. You know what I mean? And just to line up amongst guys like Andrew, Chen, Joe, and this incredible stunt team, and have this amazing crew around filming this stuff. It was it's like every kid's dream, is there something more specific that you want to ask me, like particularly about the fight?
No, I just didn't know, like, because it's so chaotic, like how that. But you've sort of you've covered it. So.
But in terms of that laundry sequence, it literally was okay. I rocked up the set, and obviously we had rehearsed and pre-visualized these fights in the stunt tent, and then we just worked through it shot by shot. Okay, first shot up is this, boom, boom, boom. All right, you coming through the door. This sequence, bam, 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 and just work through it, and you're covered in this fake blood all day long, and then having Father June come in and save your ass. It was a beautiful, amazing. This is what I want to say about the fight. When I got back to the trailer and I was completely exhausted and drained and was eating my food, that is the kind of tired that I really love and miss, where you've given everything you've got. Like, you're just mentally fatigued, you're physically fatigued, artistically you've given it your all, and you're done. And it was that sequence that I honestly felt like I earned my salary in a good, what I mean? Like, I'm like, this is what this is the kind of tired I want to feel. If I can feel this kind of tired many more times in my life, then I'll be really satisfied, because I gave it my all. And man, they wrote such an amazing, they filmed, wrote, created this amazing sequence. And so I feel like that photo really like captures it. I'm going to post it up again, I think. And that was taken by Perry, actually, because he came to my trailer. And the thing was, my dinner, after a long day of shooting, that my dinner was like veggies and like a bit of salmon or something, and like it's super healthy. I'm like, oh,
I just want pizza.
McDonald's pizza, burger, milkshake. Come on.
I earned that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks, and tune in next week for another Need to Know session at the Crib. Follow us on Twitter @StrikebackCrib. Out.